Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kizma. I'm Nick, and today we're talking about how to make the present moment perfect. For any resources and show notes, you can go to illuminationacademy.net/INK139, episode 139, How to Make the Present Moment Perfect.
Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kizma, bringing you ancient wisdom for modern day success so that you can have the mindset to get your life and business set.
As always, thank you for tuning in. And if you're new to the podcast, take a quick second to hit the subscribe button in iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. If you want to get the inside info for this and every episode, as well as some free gifts, go to illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. And now let's dive in to get your mindset for your life and business set. Hey there, Kizma.
Well, hello there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to learn how to make the present moment perfect.
Well, so am I, actually.
Wait, this was your idea. I thought you had the download. You had the goods.
I had the download, but honestly, I can't say that it's really fully formed. So I don't know how it's going to come out in words. So I'm kind of counting on you to ask me some good questions.
It always comes out well.
And to see how this conversation unpacks, because it's really been for me kind of a special time, a special transformation, a special way of looking at things a little bit differently.
Well, I think it goes back to, in my mind, we both have a musician background, which requires an element of perfection. You once said to me, oh, but perfect is the standard. It's just like where you start.
It is. Yeah.
And so with that can come, I don't know, this habit almost of it's got to be better. It's got to be better. It's got to be better.
Yeah.
And yes, we talk a lot about doing everything we can do to the best of our ability. Yet when we cross the line into obsession, we're missing something in the perfect moment.
Yeah.
Or in the present moment, I
would agree with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The present moment. Mm-hmm. What I found for me, and maybe it does come from that training. I hadn't really thought about that. But what I found for me was that lots of times I would find myself in situations, and somewhere in the back of my mind, it just sort of revealed to me that, like I wanted it to be different. Like I wanted the situation to be different. I'm so much better with people about that, where it's like, okay, that person's just going to be exactly who they are. Like that's something I've really paid close attention to. But I haven't paid as close attention to with circumstances. And so it's like, I kind of want the situation to be different. Like super simple example. I go out to lunch. I did a training last weekend, and we did some longer lunches because we were doing some videos and different things. And I went out to lunch by myself, and I was going to go to Wahoo's, which is like, they're amazing. Their tacos are so good.
In San Clemente?
Up in San Clemente, yeah. They have these bonsai veggies. Oh, so amazing. I want to hack their recipe. But
thank you for making me hungry.
I didn't go there. I went to this new Thai place. It was not the best Thai food I've ever had.
Sad.
I've never had Thai food that was bland before.
That's odd.
It was.
That is odd. That's anti-Thai
really
food.
Really strange.
That is not Thai food.
So I'm sitting there. I've got my pumpkin curry, and I'm like, wow, this is disappointing, you know? But it's doing its job. But what I did find, but then I kind of snapped out of it. I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm here. Like I'm here. So I'm just going to enjoy being here. And I noticed over the speakers, they're playing this, it's like the Chinese bamboo music. And I've been looking for some of that kind of music, but it's like really specific in the tempo and the flow of it and everything. Just like I've been looking for music just like that and having kind of a tough time finding it. And it was right there. And I walked up to him and I said, hey, like, what is this? Like, what are you guys playing? And they showed me their phone that they were playing it off of. And it's like a YouTube channel. Like, boom, hours and hours worth of the perfect music.
Bamboo music.
Exactly what I needed for this specific application.
Right? Thanks. Like, we're not going to be playing that all day long in our house.
No, it won't. No, it's not for that. But
you got with something that you've been looking for.
It was right there. It was like sitting right there.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting.
So it sounds like it would have been what you're saying, if I got this correctly, it would have been really easy to focus on bland Thai food, sucks, should have gone to Wahoo's, blew my lunch, like all of this sort of downward negative talk. And instead you were kind of like, all right, bland food, but wait a minute. What's this music? I've been looking for this.
It let me come a little bit more into the present.
Yeah.
And then really get what was right there. So that's kind of my new assumption in kind of a new way, is that, all right, there's a treasure for me here in this present moment.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
That puts us in inquiry, and it makes us wonder and be curious, and it keeps us like looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of checking out, which I think is really easy to do these days.
Looking, but here's a little thing, and I'm not even sure if I can articulate this very well, but I'll try, and then you can ask a question if you want. But it's not even like I'm like looking or searching for it, because that kind of gets me back into that other mode of, ooh, like, how can I make it better?
Something's got to be different.
Something's got to change, or something like that. It's more like just allowing.
It's the law of receiving.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I guess it is.
It's really the law of receiving. I mean, if you guys are interested in our series of working with the law, I think it begins like around episode 123 or 126, but it's the law of receiving. And I think this is really good, Nick, because it shows how many times we put up some sort of resistance or judgment or past belief, and we miss a gem, or we miss a gift of perfection right in front of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes. And what I've also noticed is that it's really easy to stay stuck in those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we get same.
Right.
Again and again and again.
Yeah.
Because it's always kind of stuck around these same things, or these same kind of mental patterns or constructs.
Mm-hmm.
And it never really lets you be fully in the present moment to get what's there, and to then use that to take your next step.
Right. Well, to me, it sounds like when we slather a layer of belief on a moment or a situation isn't great, it's coming from some past belief, event, congestion, block, or whatever. So all of a sudden we have an opinion that isn't stellar. And like you said, it's easy to stay there and get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And it attracts more of that stickiness. Rather, when we remove all of the beliefs, when we're just super clear, like a crystal clear human in that moment, we see the perfection.
The perfection of it.
And because we're crystal clear, we receive it. And I think this is really interesting. And all of whoever's listening, I want you to ponder, like, when was the last time, and I bet it wasn't that far off, where someone tried to give you something, whether it was a compliment, a cup of coffee, maybe if you're lucky, a diamond ring, or somebody tried to give you something and you're like, oh, no, it's okay. And you really wanted it. Like maybe you really wanted someone to buy a cup of coffee, but there was I shouldn't have someone buy that for me. Or someone was trying to give you a compliment and you did that sort of, oh no, I shouldn't receive that.
Yeah.
I think this happens more than we realize. And so it sets up a tone. It sets up an energy in our field of not receiving.
Mm.
And so if we're not receiving, we're repelling. And guess what? We can repel love. We can repel money. We can repel spiritual connection. Interesting, right?
Yeah. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. This came up when I was talking with a client. Mm-hmm. I love having awesome clients.
I know,
it's
right?
so fun because the conversations are so fun and the things that get revealed are, and I think that's an exciting part of it. I'm really there when I'm with a client. I'm really there to show up for that person.
Right.
And what I found is that the more that I show up for them, the more that kind of things that reveal for me as well. It's not like I'm going through my process with them or something like that. It's more like, wow, like that's a really great treasure that revealed. So how it came up was busy guy, like lots of things going on. He's, real creative kind of type and also, responsible for pretty big business and things that are, all the things that are happening within that, which is substantial. And he was feeling kind of in this mode of like, one more thing. One more thing. And so every time somebody would come and maybe it'd take him out of his creative flow or it would just feel like another problem,
another thing, another interruption.
Yeah. And I don't know about you or any of the listeners, if you've ever felt like that, it's really frustrating. Like I know I felt like that. I'm just trying to get this thing done.
Oh man, it gets so forceful then. It just makes me,
Yeah, you're
so
like
forceful.
willing your way through it. And this was a shift that really allowed like so much more ease and flow in and through. It was like just a total transformation. And the question was just, hey, are you looking at the problem or are you looking at the perfection?
That's a good question.
And
that's a really good question.
Or looking for the problem or looking for the perfection.
Right.
Really interesting. I don't know. Do you remember The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, the movie?
No.
You didn't see that one?
I don't think I saw it.
Pretty cool movie.
Sorry, Tom.
I liked it.
to
anyway.
Catch up later with you.
Well, anyway, at the very end of it, it's an older movie. They're not old, but it's probably, I don't know, at least 10, 15 years old. And so no spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie, but at the end of it, the samurai, his friend is, basically dying, on the battlefield, and he looks around and he has his moment of Zen. He's like, it's all perfect.
Yeah.
And it made me think of that. I was like,
right.
Yeah,
it's
it really
perfect.
is. It's all perfect, right?
Uh-huh.
So you brought up something that I think is really important about this, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk around that a little bit as well. And this is a really important piece, everybody. So it has to do with the difference between allowing the moment to be perfect and becoming complacent.
Oh, so essential.
Yeah.
So essential. I have to cut a lot of cords when I see all over social media, I'm perfect right where I am, or I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Cause me, like I'm sort of like warrior. Actually, we're all supposed to be self-realized. Like by the design of the human, that's where we're supposed to be. And so we're on a journey. And that journey requires resiliency. It requires movement. It requires dedicate. Like there's a lot of beautiful effort on that journey.
Yeah.
There is no complacency.
Right.
None.
That's right.
Zero.
And so I don't want this to get mistaken for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think the really golden gem here is in order to see and receive that perfection, in order to be in the law of non-resistance, one must be aware.
It's like if my GPS, I want to get somewhere. So I put it in my GPS and my GPS is telling me that I'm exactly where I am. Okay. You're at home right now.
Right.
Okay. And I'm like, no, I'm not at home.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm not at home.
Or, maybe
I'm at the gas station.
Why don't I just start the journey from, down the street? Or why don't I start the journey from the office instead? Well, like the GPS is telling me exactly where I am because that's where I am.
Right.
So maybe I'll have an easier time getting there if I start from where I am.
Start from where you are. And what's the perfection that's right there?
That's it.
That your awareness, and I know it's a little bit, we're getting a little heady, but it's kind of fun, isn't it, everyone?
It's important.
It's important. Yeah. So your awareness and operating with the law of non-resistance allows you to see a perfect moment, a perfect thing, person, whatever. Opportunity right in front of you.
Yeah.
That's amazing because those perfect opportunities, when we look at the design of what we're creating, especially for those of you that are into manifesting, some of you are in my prosperity code, what we're talking about working with these laws. When you're asking for help from God, from the universe, from your guides, we've got to have some awareness to what's being put in front of us.
What's there. Yeah. And assuming like they talk about that, was it Rumi, the Rumi quote where he says, the entire universe is conspiring on your behalf.
It totally is.
And that was part of it that came into my thoughts too. Wow, a lot's been going on in my head.
Yeah, it sounds quite busy up there.
I didn't realize this. And it hasn't all quite...
Sparks coming out, as a matter of fact.
It hasn't all like landed in its like little place just yet. So like all these things keep popping back through. But that was one of them. It's like, okay, I'm going to assume that that's true because I think a lot of the times, and I don't know that I was getting deep into this, but I know that I've worked with a lot of people who have gotten deep into the idea that I'm having to fight against the world.
Somebody heavy.
Somebody just posted that on my page today. I posted an I am, and I'm like, what's your words? Those are important. And they're like, I'm a survivor. I'm like, that's cool. Like, I get it. I really get it, but like it puts you in that mode of fighting against the world to scratch out, your place. And I don't know if you're into that. I guess that's cool, but I don't want to live my life like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the I am.
Yeah. So it brought me back to that assumption that, all right, the universe is conspiring for me.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call that.
Right.
God, the law. I prefer that. I think that really relates to me. Okay. So all the laws are working and conspiring exactly as they should because I've decided. And now that lets me decide to see what's right there and really take advantage of those opportunities. And I think you're right on. The law of receiving. It's receiving the opportunities.
Receiving the opportunities, which are everywhere. The miracles are everywhere. The conversations are everywhere. The people are everywhere. They're truly right in front of us. And, you know, the little sort of, like I said, the way to heighten your awareness is to first look at when you deny, when you don't receive.
Right.
At the smallest level. Just look at that and ask yourself why. Like, what came up? What was that voice where you didn't want to be like, thank you. Yeah, I love my new outfit, or thank you. I'd love a cup of coffee.
Right.
And give someone else the opportunity to give.
Yeah.
Right. So it's so fascinating what our human minds will do. I think the other thing, you know, those of you listening that want to build up on this law of receiving is it's tricky, but it's very rewarding. When you're in the present moment, the awareness of, like you said, Nick, everything's actually perfect. Where am I trying to make it imperfect? You know, what belief am I putting on something? What fear or anxiety am I putting on something to take away the actual perfection that is there?
Yeah.
And simply by asking those questions of ourselves, it seems like we begin to be more heightened in, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to choose the perfection.
Yeah.
And then you get to see these little gifts that drop in from the universe.
All over the place. I mean, all over the place. I want to circle back to that, what you were saying and what we were talking about with the complacency piece, because there are two sides of the coin. And one of those is exactly what you said, is in the absolute sense, we're actually already perfected.
Right. We are.
You know, in the absolute sense, every step that you take moves you closer to that goal in the absolute sense.
Right.
And in our relative world, there are obstacles or impediments to that.
Yes.
Misunderstandings, I think is the best way to put that, about who and what we are, and what this world is. And in the relative world, every step we take is not towards that goal.
Right.
In fact, some of those steps take us
backwards,
directly away from that in the exact opposite direction.
Right. Turn around.
And it's important to understand that in this human body and in our lives, we're in the relative world. So it's awesome to hold a space for that absolute goal. And if we don't function as if we're in the relative world, then you're in la la land.
This is true.
And you can take steps that will keep you stuck. You can take steps that will send you backwards.
Right.
You know, and that's important to know. And we have this life. This is all that we know that we have.
This is the vehicle that we've been given, the action, the movement, to be grounded, to do something on the planet.
That's right. And we don't know when our time is coming. We have no idea how much time we have left.
It's true.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it really is.
We really don't know.
And so if we really view every moment as perfect, that moment will kind of rise and shine for us.
I think it takes us where those highest goals are much more quickly.
Yeah. It's good. It's perception.
And it really makes you think twice about, well, okay, let's look at some of the reasons that people don't see that. They make problems. So they focus on problems.
They like drama.
Yeah. Really getting into that, you know, because they need some sort of conflict and friction in order for them to take an action.
Right.
And to do something.
Right.
A lot of people need something to fight against.
Right.
Or they don't know what they would do with themselves. Which is also really interesting.
Yeah.
Many times they're needing all these different kinds of obstacles in their way so that they have excuses to stop.
Yes. So they can play small.
Yeah.
It's no fun to play small.
Well, it's very safe though.
It's safe, keeps people doing what they know to do, but it's not why we're here.
That's right.
We are not here to play small.
I think on a more innocuous level, there's just distractification. If your head is constantly in your device and in your phone, you know, it's really difficult to connect really fully with your environment.
Right. And to see the perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love my devices.
You're on your device a lot.
Not a ton. I use them for everything that I do.
I know. I'm just giving you a little hard time.
Mm-hmm.
So avoid complacency, avoid checking out, and be super present.
Yeah.
And in that receiving of all the perfection divine around you.
Just make that assumption for yourself for a little while.
That's a great way to wrap it up, is assume it's all perfect.
Assume it's all perfect. Assume that the universe is totally, or the law, or whatever, God, or whatever you call that, is totally conspiring for you to get you to your highest and best.
I think that's it.
Just assume that to be true for a day. Assume that everything that happens is exactly as it needed to in order to take you to your next highest place.
Right. And that in and of itself, that assumption gives, I feel like, a boost of confidence to take action.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, the universe is like conspiring on my behalf. I'm going to go freaking talk to new clients, or I'm going to go out on stage in a different way. I'm going to show up at work a different way. Like, I'm going to show up in perfection.
Yeah.
Like, it's exciting.
Yeah. Really exciting. Because I think one of the biggest reasons that people don't take opportunity, and certainly that I've missed opportunity, is that it doesn't look like I thought it would look.
Right.
It looks totally different, like totally different. And you can't always connect the dots in the moment.
Exactly.
You had a t-shirt on like that. About connecting the dots.
Oh yeah. From, my UA family. Yeah. It's the Steve Jobs quote. You can only connect the dots looking backwards.
That's the Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which I kind of don't. I think we can connect the dots looking forward, but you have to have some magical powers. But yeah, you connect the dots looking backwards.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fair to say it's easier to connect the dots looking backwards.
That's true.
And you see like, oh, there was that little thing, and oh, there was that little thing. And it took you to next step to next step. And if you're waiting for it to show up in a very particular way of like, that's the thing that and when I get this specific sign, then I'll take action.
Right.
And then you're waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
Well, you could be waiting for a really long time, but when you look back at it and you see the one little thing that took you to your next step.
Yeah.
And then the dots are connecting.
I love it.
Yeah.
Way to go, my dear. So assuming it's all perfect.
Just assume it's perfect.
And stay present and stay in action.
Yes, absolutely.
I love
Fun
it.
topic. Yeah. I'm sure this will continue to unfold.
Yeah. And I think it's a great one where like this is being released right around the holidays when there can be an enormous amount of chaos. Don't take on the chaos, like be in the perfection.
Yeah.
Breathe through. I just put in my Facebook group, Codes of Consciousness. There was a very long line at the post office this morning. And I was like, oh, I could sit here and be impatient, or I could do my prosperity commands. Or I could talk to the universe and I could actually get really deep in what I wanted. And it was like such a useful period of time. So that perfection was right there. Interesting.
Oh, see, it's showing up for you.
Showing up.
It's cool.
All right, everyone.
It's in the field now.
So let us know what shows up for you. Send me a message on Facebook, Nick a message on Facebook, or info@sourcemovement.com. And would love to hear how perfection is showing up for you.
Peace.
Namaste. Hey, thanks for jamming with us today. And if you enjoy Illumination Podcast, please go ahead and share it with someone you love. Give us a rating, review, download our podcast. And remember, you can find us at illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. Talk to you soon. Namaste.